Hello, welcome. This is the Daily Dharma. My name is Deana. Thank you so much for joining us. And today, I usually start out with the code cards, the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle deck, but I have laid out just a couple from the Mystical Shaman blended with the Shaman's Dream Oracle decks together, and some Tao Te Ching messages to start us out. But before I'm going to start reading, I'm going to get us some code cards while we're on camera just to see how things go, and we'll start talking them out as the codes come out. Hope you're all doing well. This, I feel, is going to be an extension from some of the imagery that's been popping out. I think that the channel is kind of warming up to some imagery that's coming through. If you haven't caught them, there's a few that were something about Beam Me Up Scotty, were hashtags there, and then we had a Harry Potter reference going through platform 9 3/4. We'll get to that if you don't know the reference. It's like a magical portal that the normal people could not even see. It was straight through what appeared to be a concrete pillar. And then after that we had another reading where there was, or maybe it was the same, talking about our point of realization where we have path to a goal, a certain path to a goal where we have to take certain steps towards our destiny, and at certain points along the way we might engage in limitation, limited thinking, or even anxieties or many other things that then put us in what could be called a ball of neurosis in the model that is being symbolically played out in that reading, where then if you can get yourself back on track from that point of distraction, confusion, delusion, or self-sabotage, then you get back on track to the points or to the steps towards your goal, and eventually you become either confident or capable enough to then reach the point where self-belief, amongst other things, lets you see the broader picture, and instead of a concrete wall in front of you, the self-belief gets you to the point where you can utilize your magic enough where you can see the opening, and like that point of extreme alignment and embodiment with that use of confidence and magic is that 0 point twisting energy that then propels you forward into that portal, into that wormhole, where then you're in this expanded awareness of what in the Harry Potter reference was this whole entire train station located at platform 9 3/4, the train to Hogwarts, the school of witchcraft and wizardry. So this is all coming out again today, and there's our first card, and guess what? It's magic. 333 on the timer. So magic is the 31 card, and it comes right below the 31 card in this deck in the hand. The universe is your partner. Synchronicities much? Are things syncing up in your own life? There are a couple different synchronicities here in the reading already. We'll get into it. So under the deck, communication, and we'll lay out a few more in just a moment. Actually, we'll get a couple. Second one off the bottom, 12, change, coming under the anagram 21 card, the gatherer. So in this card, I kind of see this being a masculine side of the profile, and then this being the feminine polarity within a certain individual. And there's a little bit of a story I'll tell you as we lay out the cards. 26, empowerment, coming underneath the 57, unmarked trail, revelation. So I will get This flipped over. Under communication, we have transition, coherence, perception, delight, dynamic, sacred chakra, and healing. Crown, tantric, and belief. Belief was under the deck quite a bit. Fertility showing its face there. So yeah, there's a dynamic change happening here. A delightful change in perception and coherence is basically our understanding in a shift in belief structure that is being communicated and bringing delightful response. But things like, it seems like an emotional energetic pinnacle moment has been reached here. So something is making you happy. There's an understanding of a big change that has been communicated, perhaps even literally communicated already, or this may be coming your way soon. Okay, let's get into it. And I want to show you, before we move on, what's under the shamanic decks, the blended decks. So I saw first New Beginnings, Moon Maiden card, and we just had the new moon here at the time of this broadcast, and that's the energy that we're coming out of. And astrology is more timing based, but this reading is intended to be timeless, so if you find this at a future date, this is still relevant. So the new beginnings at this enormous moon energy could be a full moon or a new moon, but it's referencing the moon cycle, is the 28-day cycle in our lives where you'll see the rising tide of energies, emotions, and tensions in the air between ourselves and our higher or lower selves, and ourselves in the apparent outer world, the environment, how we're feeling it pushing in upon us, and how we're feeling that we're climbing those steps towards our goals, or adapting, or being pushed below the surface, or having to push through that boundary where that concrete pillar is actually here under the deck as well, right below it. This was the pillar that I saw in the other reading that I'm referencing, the Andean cross here. Seems to be this eye of a needle, which we were being told, oh, well, this is the platform. You just have to go at a little bit of a clip, go running towards it, and you'll just spiral straight through the eye of that needle, and you'll end up in another portal, or through the portal into another dimension, I mean. And at first it seems like a daunting thing until you go into that, let's say, ball of neurosis would be below the surface, perhaps, going deeper into the self, into the potential learning experiences, and having gathered all of the experiences, harvested all of the delightful wisdom, the good, bad, and the ugly, coming out having blended the inner masculine and feminine, and having the wisdom and the instincts to come through. And I'm seeing the alignment of planetary forces, or just energetic forces and ancestral forces here in the orbs that are shown mostly in alignment. And then there's a few things happening out here, but there's a very tucked in upon oneself energy here. And it, to me, I'm seeing also, while I was looking into this card, there are down here a couple of things that appear to be ropes to me, and they look broken free of. It seems like that journey and maturity cycle and self-confidence cycle that creates the alignment, where there's that belief in the universe, that the universe is our partner. It's like the hand of God is the extension of our will here because of our alignment. So we're trusting that when we're aligned with our own center and with the powers that be, perhaps, then our will is an extension of that divine force, and that what else could happen except to jump into that portal and actually not ram our head into a concrete wall, but actually to make it through. So I'm finding that in that model, that point of realization, it's like, is it a brick wall or is it paper thin? Is it just the veil of self-delusion that we're not good enough or great enough or special enough to go into this next realm where the moon energy is perhaps dominant rather than this, there's like this, it's cosmic down here, but it looks also like in the ocean, like that fallen angel energy that we've had in the past. This one appears to be rising up out of a sleep, out of been plunged below the veil and pushing up through. And then we had that Indian cross here, and then it's like seeing that closing door comes right behind it, completion, closing door number 5, closing behind us. It's like the point of realization is then followed by the point of no return. And so under that, I don't want to go much further. I took a peek further, but right below that we have skywriting the fates. So something written in the sky or written in the stars. And then under that, stars in the sky, limitless possibilities. And then the sacred contract, covenant, with the soul contract coming in here that was perhaps written in the stars and provides us now with limitless possibilities. So we'll get to this. Then there is the magician's sword, confidence in your magic, popping out again, and then smoky mirror. And the smoky mirror, I feel, is witnessing that other individual as a part of oneself, healing that projection energy, expectation energy, codependency, those egoic issues. Oh, and that's right, the vanishing mirror, ego, something, ego sublimation is the card. That one popped out in the pre-shuffle. So yeah, there's this point of destiny and a point of no return here where then we're being told, now that you've witnessed your magic, now you've done that, you don't necessarily have to ever repeat that lesson unless you fall back into that spiritual narcolepsy, but now you see things quite differently. It's like having blended with your fuller, expansive nature, being able to see through the eyes of above. And so yeah, I'm seeing Pachamama under that, straddling worlds, wandering between realms, and cosmic womb, and then earth. So it's like the bridge between worlds, between heaven and earth, creating heaven on earth, being at a critical point in your destiny where you've gone through a point. And this unmarked trail to me is looking like there's a very extensive labyrinth down below. And then here it becomes this point where you're really starting to ascend and answer some of the lifetime challenges, and then getting to this point in the center here that feels like that climax, that point where then you become twisted. It's like you didn't realize you were in the vortex and already in this acceleration phase where you're already shrinking and twisting and coming through the center. And then at this center point, I feel it's where there's this sacred blending of sovereignty, the reclamation of your own power, what do they call it, soul retrieval, and becoming your own mother and father, the point of maturity, and having gathered that experience is creating this magical change and this powerful download of magical capacity. And now I feel that there's this point of blending, whether this is happening in real time with another individual or a circumstance or a new contract, a new home, a new relationship, a new job, or something like that. I feel that this is the point of having accepted the challenge and then walking forward with that newfound confidence the sword is, I feel that blue feather in the hand, and the upright one here too. It's like having your own and the magician's sword in one hand. Exponential capacity, and if you're walking with someone new in a job or a partnership, synergy of some sort, I feel that that's coming through here for this next leg of the journey, where now you're going to be up here out of this so-called box, this third dimensional geometric structure, and then the laws of physics work differently in this upper realm, where perhaps you're just now starting to gain your bearings and to straddle these realms between understanding and witnessing this, but now at this point of no return, coming up into this next realm where you're on the outside of this third dimensional, but still centered here, because it's not an up and a down thing. If you know the Hermetic principles we talk about, most of you will, it's like there is no up and down, in or out. It is harmonically all centered in 0 point field, but now it's like this point of expansion, where before you may have been like this lemming, limited to going around this labyrinth all around here and then coming into your center sometimes. But now it's like having gone around all of the outside and then witnessing this point where you start to come up to this point. And when you get to the center of the cube, it's like suddenly there's an expansion point where then you're all around, and this is all contained within you. The seed of the matrix still is within us all, even if we've so-called escaped the matrix. The seed is still there, because it's a harmonic of source. However difficult or not difficult it seems, at any given point, the universe is our partner, and things are always getting better. And even when things look the darkest, we can utilize our magic with the law of attraction, and that intoning of what is possible and plausible and in our highest possible good, by somehow advancing in whatever way you're pushing through your own subjective personal journey at this point, your life lessons, and in that life lessons, then you're expanding your third dimensional goals at the same time, and there's exponential success happening in some type of a, or all areas, several areas at once. So the initial message, the Tao Te Ching messages, were what came out first, and this may give some of you more direction here. It's talking about failure on the 79 card that popped out. Failure, I feel, is talking about rejection, abandonment, wounded nature, the apparent suffering of the third dimension, and the ego development, and the coping skills, and all of these things that may feel like hurtful things if we tell that story. But if we start to tell a different story of success and steps to a goal, then we start to gain access to the center, to the core, to the root of the issue. Failure is an opportunity. If you blame someone else, there is no end to the blame, even if that is the center of the inner child or something self-subjective. Therefore, the master fulfills her own obligations and corrects her own mistakes. She does what she needs to do and demands nothing of others. It's very interesting, right? And under the deck, 42, the Tao gives birth to one. One gives birth to two. Two gives birth to three. Three gives birth to all things. I'll come back to this and see what we all think about that. All things have their backs to the female, and stand facing the male. When male and female combine, all things achieve harmony. Ordinary men hate solitude, but the master makes use of it, embracing his aloneness, realizing he is one with the whole universe. So the Tao is the all. It gives birth to that divine impulse for fractalization or individuation, for independent pursuit, for self-definition. And so in that way, the female is, in the Tao, the magnetic, the responsive, the unity, and the cosmic womb of recycling energy, of non-descriptive all things. And then with our backs to that unity, we go out like the prodigal sons and daughters of the universe, cosmically seeking something special, unique, and important, to be this gatherer of contributing forces, to make an impact, to make a legacy for ourselves, to be similar and different at the same time, and to empower our path, to reveal some type of personal meaning for ourselves, to show our impact on everything around us, to change and to be changed, to have something remarkable to communicate. Dynamic aspects of heightened climactic delight in engagement, to witness synchronicity and magic in our lives, and to be the gatherer of life experience, to harvest all of that magic and to be changed by the experiences, to have lived well. And so, yes, all of those things, that divine impulse is the divine yang energy coming from that point of magnetism into personal delight, dynamic adventure and experience and choosing. And that oneness gives birth to two, in that it is the polarity of, do I want to continue to receive everything and to work on my further magnetism? Do I want to go out and engage in impact? It's that divine polarity of gendering, to role play, and in that divine aspect of immediate cellular division, of twinning energy, and that smoky mirror, that ego sublimation that happens with the vanishing mirror as we crash through gender identification and role play, that can give birth to our own thirdness, or the enterprises that we can work on with others when we give up our differentiation and our urge to go out and rebel and and to become different. Then there's the synergy that happens with threeness, creating something together with others, the sacred brainchild. And the three gives birth to then all things forward. So by our nature, we all are sort of turning our backs on synergy in order to go and explore the extremity of self, but then we're gathering our own subjective wisdom, harvesting that wisdom and that magic and bringing it back to empower something incredible and exponentially liberating for more than just ourselves. And I feel that there's this point of connectivity and union within the self and with some others, that when these things combine within the self and with others, all things achieve harmony. So make use of your own solitude. By embracing your aloneness, you realize that you're getting beyond these illusions of the ball of neurosis and the illusion that we've been rejected or abandoned or left behind because we've only been pushed back into ourselves so that we can find the center here. We're just someplace around in this labyrinth. Others are bumping around against us, trying to figure out their own way forward, trying to figure out if their failures are someone else's to blame or we're to blame. I feel like that's like the low side of, let's say, gender blaming and political blaming, your team versus my team, that competitive nature versus the collaborative key to all things going forward. And so if we can close the door on the false competition and enter into like, well, if we and a friend are in the same market, let's say I become friends with somebody else on YouTube, I wouldn't be trying to scoop them and try to, oh, well, they're stealing my messages. Well, it's a great honor to, all be in one camp together. I have some friends that read cards personally and privately and publicly. And I have other people that have talked about, oh, well, all these people worked for me and now they're out and they're in a competitor's position. And what I say about that is, if you turn out leaders versus followers, then you're a great leader. And also, when those people are in competitive positions, you have too many opportunities to do work for other individuals anyways. So it's great to be able to then say, oh, well, that one's a little too far away, gas money for me. Let me refer you to one of my friends that works right in the neighboring little town that's only 5 minutes apart. Maybe you guys can collaborate on many things and giving referrals. You know what I'm saying? So changing the way that we gather the experiences and utilize the partnership with the universe by giving and sharing and being generous in a different way than perhaps we were allowing ourselves to witness in the past is going to help us move into the next leg of the journey. So to finish us up today, since I already had some down messages and they seemed pretty good, excuse me, I am going to get us a Kuan Yin mixed with Kali deck Oracle message, and we had several popping out, but it looks kind of interesting. I love this card, the 17 many hands of the goddess. Look at all of those mudras, or whatever you call those, that she's formulating with her hands. Concentrated meditative poses. You may be doing some Tai Chi or yoga or something of that nature yourself, or just stretching or working with spirit. Often when I warm up for this, I'll do intonation just because I'm guided and feels good, and then I tend to kind of start moving my body, and I guess it looks weird to others, but it just feels really good to roll the muscles up and to stretch just ever so slightly, and to let those energies just kind of flow and roll through the arms from the back and up the shoulders, clench and then release, and to time that with the breath at the same time. My hands immediately start tingling, and then to draw them out at the bottom, and then breathing in and upward and back down. And perhaps we just needed a moment to center, or maybe you did. So I feel better when I do that every time. So it looks like 4 cards popping out here. Okay, I haven't gotten some of these before. They're pretty intense cards. So the many hands of the goddess says that you've got this, you're probably multitasking, and we do have Venus, and I think, I'm pretty positive Mercury is still sitting in Gemini at the time of this broadcast. I didn't update my chart, but it's moving a little faster these days, so I believe we've got those multitasking energies going through right now. And so having to change the way that we look at things, maybe having too much in our hands, juggling our things at once, and needing to delegate so that we can kind of see the way forward, instead of having this burden and these distractions and other things that other people can do for us. And letting go and detaching from some of the little things kind of releases the weightedness and allows us to kind of rise up and see through. But the many hands of the goddess also tells us that make your wish, make your intentions, trust and believe, say your prayers if that's your thing, but meditate on it and become centered and aware, whatever works for you, at becoming connected and aligned with spirit in that way, because spirit has your back in this, and you will find that when you take 5 or 20 minutes or even an hour to align, that you will exponentially be supported in completing tasks that may have seemed like when you're spinning your wheels and not able to accomplish anything, like you don't go out and work with electricity in a rainstorm unless you're trying to create electricity, right? And so finding the flow with the universe is going to help you to accomplish more, and centering and aligning yourself will help you to get into that magical flow, so that you're not in a point of resistance and negative incanting and conjuring things to jump in your way. So we have 4 cards on the bottom here. Bhairavi, Yogini. So Yogini is somebody who practices yogas, right? So that's interesting. That one I haven't seen before, but to me it has also on the skull here the root yantra, I believe that's called. It's the depiction for the root. I'm pretty positive, but the element of the downward triangle also equates with water. And the square with and maybe it's the feminine inside of the masculine. And then the circle that surrounds being source, and then the flower that goes around that as like the division and the carrying forward from the secure foundation. And then the enlightened crown energy behind the skull is like having put to death these thoughts of scarcity and root issues which were blocking enlightenment, blocking the spiritual channel, the distractions and scarcity thinking, and putting it's that transition energy of having put the death to the third dimensional self and expanding out into the cosmic knowledge here. That's the 21 card, which equates with this gatherer card. So we've got 2 31s on top of each other, 2 21s, a 12, and then we have the 26 and 27 cards. I'm seeing this is 27. The Sisters of the Star Blossoms, if I'm not mistaken, that is the Pleiades. And we'll take a little read on these too. I love the books. And then 13 is the Death card in the tarot, and I'm seeing that here. Yuga Shakti is like the empowered feminine rising energy, and that sacred holy hell no energy, setting of boundaries and putting death to an old cycle of disempowerment, control, or fear, or scarcity of money or something else. And then 41 card, we have the 41 card too. And before we started, I was noticing we have 21, 31, 41, which are 10, 10, and 10 apart, but they're 3, 4, 5. So it's kind of like, and they came out of order, by the way, but it just seems like, since I keep calling attention to it, there are a lot of syncing ups happening here. And look at this 2-headed masculine here. So this may be a warrior spirit, 4 arms, 2 heads. He may be the one straddling worlds right now, but there's a big fire behind him. He's in the point of passions and pursuits and career, the alpha polarity we're talking about, jumping out and further imposing and impacting and creating and co-creating. He's got axe in hand, but he's also not all of his hands are in the frame, so it's like not knowing exactly what cards he's holding. And then with one of them, he's also got kind of like this sacred little push kind of a look on his hand too, like, it's almost like he's of two minds of something, and maybe she's put some boundary and he's looking back and reflecting into himself here in some type of a way. And it seems like a growth moment for both individuals. So let me just read these in the order that we find them here. So 17 went a little funny. These are so well written. These Kelly and Kuan Yin decks are the Alana Fairchild decks. 17. Many hands of the goddess. The goddess Kuan Yin brings blessings to multiple projects in many different parts of your life and consciousness, beloved. She is not limited to one task at a time. Do not be afraid to surrender into her guiding wisdom and creative genius now, for there is much that you can accomplish together, and she wants to assist you. So whether she's coming to you in the guise of another feminine, a friend, or even a lover, or a job, or even a challenge at this time, there are other individuals, there's delegating and asking and praying and intending that can happen that will assist you to get many things done at once. And if this is just healing, this can happen as well. You can intend for your healing to, or your meditative work to follow you forward into your life and do the best that you can, right? Yeah, sometimes it says we often create well while focusing on one direction at a time, seeing it through to completion and then tending to the next. Sometimes our attention is stretched across numerous projects, but I did say tension stretched, and I'm thinking like the physical body. Especially if you have a lot of natural creative energy at your disposal. You may worry you're being stretched beyond your capacity to be productive, that your creative energy is being dissipated by flipping from one project to another, or that you won't complete anything. But the guidance at this time is to release your worries and intentions to her, and then let her guide you. When you feel strongly to work in a particular project or direction, perhaps focus on it for a time, do so. Then when you feel compelled to step back and rest, then do so. In the rest, you'll replenish, gain new perspective, and return to your creative work more productive. It's an essential part of the process. Trust that she's uplifting, guiding, and instructing you through with your own intuition so that your projects and creative desires will manifest through the highest wisdom and in the best order and timing. You don't have to worry about having too many logs in the fire. You just need to allow the universe to be your partner. So I'll leave that one there. There's more always in her descriptions that would completely delight and amaze you. But that delight card is what she's talking about. You know, do it as long as it feels good. And when it becomes a burden, unless you are severely under the gun, you need to take those replenishing moments. Even if you are under a deadline, take a moment and catch your breath and stretch and release as much tension as you can. Get up, use the bathroom, get a drink of water, come back. And then in the just 5 minutes of getting up and moving the body, the magic starts flowing again. So then we have the 21 card in the Kelly deck, the one that I cannot pronounce at this point. Okay, here we go. Haravi Yogini, I believe. Sublime, the Haravi, fierce with sacred rage, cannot be deceived or deterred. She is unflinching, fearless, and determined. She causes that which is unworthy of the soul to flee and secures divine protection for the authentic soul path. Her presence empowers our hearts to face our fears and signifies that we're ready to overcome anything that has held us back. She gives the power to fulfill our heart's desires and reminds us to embrace our unique path with confidence. So yeah, pushing through a major transition here and setting up some major boundaries with somebody or something or within ourselves. If it insults the souls, Don't keep doing it. And moving from the 17 card to the 27, that's another 10 card jump. Sisters of the Star Blossoms. I wanted to see first if this was part of the Pleiades, but maybe it will tell us. It is good to remember that whilst we each take our own unique journey back into divine bliss and truth, we have plenty of friends that love us unconditionally and wish to help us find the way home with the least suffering and greatest joy. When we allow ourselves to be helped, we help others too. It's a spiral of support and love that is wishing to connect more so with you now. So something about the sisterhood or self-care or gathering with friends, with those people that embody the sacred, divine, cosmic womb of healing energy, sacred space. And this calls back to that group energy. We keep talking about synergy, and instead of falling back into the self, to go out and keep trying and to integrate with other individuals. It says group energy is powerful. When used consciously, it can help us expand in the same way that if you were doing any task, many hands could make light work, as the saying goes. Well, many hands make light work too. Your energy can help nourish and lift the energy of others in a group as you're able to carry a high vibration of love in your heart. Okay, here it is. Yes, the ancient Chinese, over 2,000 years ago, referred to the Pleiades as the star blossoms. These 7 stellar sisters work together as a group of higher consciousness, to radiate great love and light on our planet, and they can assist you now to find the light in the groups within which you share involvement. So, kind of praying to release your ego, to transmute your fears or burdens or any of those blocks, and to see the way forward, and to pray and intend that others are wishing and wanting the same thing, and helping others to gently see through into this point of transition, and understanding how to dynamically work together with what's right and good with everybody, towards everyone's niche specialties and desires and the things that they like and want to develop. So very awesome. And you can do some of that intending on the back end, utilizing your magic and the magic of your presence and the way that you communicate with other individuals, communicating what's good and right about a situation. Like, not like, oh, I see you don't like weeding very much, but you could say, oh, well, I really enjoy weeding, and I've noticed that you guys avoid it, but you know what I really don't like to do? I've noticed that you're really good at trimming trees. If you do all of that sawing, I don't mind sitting over here in my own meditative garden and weeding all summer long. And put your own situation in that. I noticed that you hate making customer service calls, but I enjoy meeting new people and using my charisma to diffuse an upset customer and make them happy and satisfied, and I get great satisfaction from that. Why don't I take the calls and you do the accounting? Whatever it is, praying for many hands in this sense is going to unlock something like that for yourself. Then we go into the 13 card, Yuga Shakti. Almost there. There it is. So she's intense. I'll let you just take a peek at her again. She's got a lot to say. So if you want to pause and take a good look at her and feel the different triggers and see the different symbols for yourself. She's maybe pushing through a glass ceiling, or asking for equality in a situation, or asking for everyone to mature and quit acting like children in a situation. She's demanding some type of synergistic exchange. Her timing is fierce with compassionate wisdom. To love her is to honor her greater knowing. Ooh. She demands the surrender of our futile attempts to control that which is beyond our sphere of understanding, until that pain transforms into the sweet pleasure of release. Even the right thing cannot attain fruition at the wrong time. Trust her and be shown again and again that her divinely orchestrated workings of time serve you faithfully with love and grace. So, yeah, so even complications or disagreements can be divine intervention, and witnessing the flow of that um, and working with the flow when it is the right time seems to be signified here. And it seems to be, well, let's just look at this a little bit more. To birth the new, she devours the old. It's somebody who had a difficult message that came out in a very powerful exchange. And I feel that this feminine masculine here is like somebody like, whoa, 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 maybe that's just kind of not exactly what I meant. And then he's over here questioning himself like, wow, did I mean that? Maybe I need to rethink that. Or if I had this bad behavior, now I've seen something and I guess I'm not getting away with that in the future. There's this point of no return where if we're moving forward into producing this third thing, this third enterprise together, there's this limitation that is now on the table and being honored here with this dynamic communication. But with delight on the desk, it's almost like he enjoys this combat, this fiery nature, and being met with another warrior instinct here. Let's read the 41 card here. So there's an unlocking of authentic power of both individuals. There's spiritual intelligence within your soul. It is the genius of becoming, of ripening from potential into glorious manifestation. Intimate communion with your own heart will reveal what it is you truly yearn for, and to set the process in motion for that yearning to be satisfied. The holy fire is Kali, and she is within your soul. Follow the yearning, seek the light. Let yourself burn bright for what inspires you, and you shall see the path to fruition clearly before you. Believe in what is meant to be. So it's this sacred union of masculine and feminine that has been on the board here for a few days, and a sacred partnership here, a power couple, power experience, a pinnacle experience. And I felt before we started that this was the plot twist, and somebody who perhaps is tending to typically come across in this retreated, very peaceful demeanor, and then coming across and saying something very powerful and profound and outranking the emperor. I've heard this for a few days as well. It's like the feminine masculine within the tarot. You have the high priestess, then the empress, then the emperor, then the high priest. And so the high priest, being Taurus, is very subdued and peaceful, but then when you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And that's where the North Node is at and will be for, I think, until next fall. Well, I say that, but hemispherical differences. So until, I believe, like the October, November-ish of 2023, I think. Could be a little sooner, but anyways, I feel that we're in a stage of becoming the whole self. And the name Krishna translates as "you are fire." Agni is the two-headed deity of fire and a potent symbol of supernatural power. On the physical level, fire generates light and heat to cook food, thereby representing both transformation and nourishment of the life force, sacred inner temple and inner fire. The inner the inner digestive fires that metabolize food and allow us to gain nutrients represents the inner nourishment of fire and symbolizes the soul's need to digest our life experiences for spiritual growth. Fire can create purification for regeneration, such as that seen in a forest after it simultaneously burns away old growth and stimulates new seeds. Old growth and stimulates new seeds within the matrix, seed within us all, for progress and change to reach our highest destiny and to communicate that forward. In that sense, it is also the power of ripening, of bringing something from an idea and a potential into that harvest, right? Into the fulfillment of innate purpose and meaning, that unmarked path. On a spiritual level, fire attracts the soul, helping it find its way through darkness towards warmth and light. The light-enhancing and alchemical properties of fire transforms physical materials as well as the subtle body of the soul. The appearance of Krishna in a reading indicates the tremendous potential for personal transformation and spiritual growth. You may feel like you are struggling, but your soul is actually gaining strength. What you desire may seem so far beyond your current reach, yet the oracle indicates your inner potential for tremendous accomplishment and to gain greater freedom on all levels, I saw in another paragraph. So that is that this is a new beginning. There's this point of mind-stretching awareness of our magic and the potential within some type of situation or partnership. And once the mind is stretched, it can no longer go back to its previous boxed thinking, but that seed allows the exponential awareness of the entirety from the observer potential of the seed and how to bring that to harvest. So we are being told there's an acceleration, and we're at that point. We've gone through the portal, and we can't go back at this point. The portal's been sealed for this moment, and we're told we're getting a push to go forward. You can do it. You have it in your potential and your capacity to create this successful endeavor and this prosperity and this prosperous moment in spirit and in maturity for yourself. So thank you, universe, for this download today. Thank you for joining in and hearing these messages with me. And as always, if it resonates, let us know by engagement with the channel so that more people can get these messages on the daily, and so the messages get where they need to go. So take care of yourself, and as always, we'll see you again here real soon. Bye.